Alright, so here we've got a 2-year-old A38. It hasn't been pruned since it was planted. I'm probably going to go ahead and say this is not the best nursery tree I ever got. I was just desperate and some came online to buy. Anyway, this is what I'm left with. It's quite a tall tree for a 2-year-old 38. It's definitely got some issues with the structure of it. And what we're trying to do is actually keep a low graft. I'll show you here. So we've got about from ground level, say, 45 centimetres. Now the idea of having the low graft and the low branching at this point in time is to try and put some vigour into the tree, try and get this canopy volume and the root below it big enough to support a crop a little bit earlier. Definitely applying about 30% more nitrogen than I'd say conventional people for this age are doing. Does create some risks with wind damage, especially from the south, which the rows come up with, but usually they hold pretty well. So we're going to do a little bit of a prune on this, focusing on branches that have gone say 60 to 80 centimetres without actually branching. I've got one right here. Okay, going up, 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 no branch. No branch at all. So I reckon around that 60 centimetres is perfect, 60 to 80. Now when you cut something like that, you're going to come back with about 3 shoots from the cut point. Probably one from behind, a couple from the side. You need to come back and sort of fix them up once they've hardened all the leaves, so maybe another 12 months from now. You can do it earlier, it's just easier and all those sort of facets there. So here we go, we'll come up here about 60. I'll try and cut it. You definitely want to leave, a good sort of 6 to 8 leaves just to support that branch. So you can come up and find just above the leaf whorl there, let's say maybe just in there, above that leaf whorl. Okay, so we'll probably get from that shoot there maybe 3 new shoots that'll come off. So this will just give us the ability when it's a bit older to sort of train them to come out across a lateral out here. We'll leave a couple sort of grow up in the side just to give it a bit of leaf matter to support that canopy. There's one cut. Okay, so remember we're leaving these low branches at the moment. We just want to really drive this tree to crop probably a year early if we leave those lower branches. It also gives us something to remove later on. That's sort of probably going to be a more low vigor sort of branching, so it's not going to really affect the yield in a big way. So we'll find another little guy that's sort of not working all that effectively. So as you can see here, this is my central leader, this big guy going up. Again, it's not ultra ideal. I would have liked to have some branches a bit lower. The other issue that we've got long term is that where the branching starts, again, this is just a poor nursery tree, but I was desperate, so I just bought it. The thickness of this, the thickness of that, this guy is trying to compete being a new leader, and that's just going to push the tree to go higher and just not really give us the money that we want. This guy here is going across, cutting through the canopy. When he hardens up, gets fatter, he's going to rub in there and create a rubbing point, and that's just no good. We'll take him off, grab him like that. Get yourself a good pair of clippers. These are lows. Don't know exactly how you pronounce that, but anyway, that's the conception of it. Okay. Alright, we come up here. This is our branching centre. So we've got 2 coming up, 2 coming across the side. So everything else is going out lateral. The branch is going out lateral. They're okay. They're nice and droopy, which is really what I want. But again, this guy going out here is really trying to take centre of stage, and he's gone probably a metre without branching. That's just not acceptable. So we come up here, maybe 60 to 80, cut. Right, doesn't matter about the angle as such. The other thing to remember with a tree like this, 2 years old, the sort of growing points and the branches are quite young, so there's not many nodes to go. So if you cut a really old tree, you know, that's sort of, I don't know, as thick as a tea sauce or something, you're going to have a whole lot of regrowth from all the nodes and stress put on that tree. Some of it will be good stress, some of it's definitely not good stress. It just creates more homework. And as you already know, farming's hard enough, let's not try and make it too complicated. So we fixed him up. This guy here, he's fine. Okay, so coming in this branching point here, we come back, you see there's two, I'm looking right at now, there's two guys going right up. They've got some good branching, but we need to pick something that gives us our best structure. We'll definitely try and go for either a central leader or an open center vase. It just depends on the tree itself. Every one of the pros and cons are relatively the same. The only really negative thing about a central leader is that when it gets taller, it's not one of those varieties or that sort of style that you just want to give it. I'd be giving it a little bit of space to allow those laterals to really grow out. That usually reduces the tree height significantly. That just keeps us in the game. So a vase will do the same, but instead of having one central leader with side branches, we've got multi-leaders, but every one of the branches off those leaders is facing the outside and not towards the inside. So we've probably got a more of a central leader style here. The only real issue, as I said, is this guy here. He's almost as thick as a leader, so he's dragging all the water, all the nutrients, all the hormones, trying to tell it to, you know, be the one, letting all the shoots die out below it in competition to be the king. I've also got one growing on the inside. If I remove that leaf, it doesn't move it. It's got a poor branch angle. Now, I'll definitely go him. Okay, so we've cleaned up that. He was just growing, he would have snapped off at some point. We just remove him now. You probably want to attack these trees at this sort of size. Probably I go once a year. Probably another thing to think about is that also the more you remove of the sort of active canopy surface, probably if you're not sort of doing the high nitrogen or leaving the low branches, would probably set it back maybe a year before it crops if you just left it grow wild. But you know, one of those things, you're just damned if you do, damned if you don't. So up here, okay, central leader. See, he's gone about probably 60, 70. He's got a beautiful set of branches. He's nice and tall. Everything's growing outwards, beautiful. This guy here, again, has grown about 1 metre without any branching, and that's just no good. So we're coming about 60 up, 60 to 80, and we just cut it there above a leaf. Boom. Okay, so we'll get maybe 3 or 4 shoots here. Let the ones bush out this way. Anything that grows up or inside, we just tip it out, remove it. Now, you see these little guys here are interesting. The little vertical sort of shoots coming off that one. He's thin enough to be a nice branch. At the moment, these are just be acting like a little bit of vegetation to get the energy into the tree. So we sort of just leave them. If they grow thick and dominant, we'd probably look to remove that. Most of the stuff that grows on the top here doesn't crop very well. Probably, you know, 20% of something that was growing more lateral. But at the moment, he's just really not doing any damage. So we come up here, let's have a look again. This guy here is going vigorously up towards the centre, creating problems 5 or so years from now. Just remove him. Right. Same thing again. A couple little verticals, but they're not, at least our branch is sort of droopy and going out that way. Same thing again. Start coming from the bottom, going up, not causing any problems at the moment. Now we've got a dominant leader up the top. New growing points here to create some laterals. New growing point here to create some laterals. You can remove them when they're, you know, still green, but you definitely want, probably try and let them harden off first. This one's a bit interesting on the side here. It's got a lot going on for this branch and a lot of them overlapping. You can probably see here that these have been cut at one point. I don't know when I did that. And then we just probably come in here and remove that guy. He's going towards the centre. I don't want him. The rest of it is another work in progress. So maybe 3 little branches out of that. And we wait 12 months before it relaxes, and then we'll come back, find anything that's growing vigorously upright, shadowing in the middle, or rubbing against any other branches or any narrow crotch angles, and then we'll work on it. Okay, thanks.